came up to me, he goes, Joel, why are we going to Florida on the way home? I said, what are you talking about? He goes, we have a layover in Florida. Oh. See, I knew that there was a layover, but I just assumed that it was up on time all the time. In fact, you've probably heard this one. God is good. How often? And all the time, testimony of when God called me into ministry. It was in the year 1996, the pinnacle of my coaching career at that point. The church that Catherine and I were attending in Volunteer High School in Dallas. Very prestigious job. And by the way, this past week, had the opportunity to meet his daughter-in-law and talk. But in 1998, after he took that job, another head coach came to Cooper High School with a completely different coaching to Dallas. I wanted to go a different direction. Had he taken me, there's no telling where my life would be today. I still look back and think, man, what if Coach Allen would have said yes? Just a second. Is there somebody here today that is in distress? Is there somebody watching online that you find yourself in distress? What we can learn from Jonah today is that when we cry out, God's listening. He hears us. Please make note of that. God heard him bad. So they called, both Catherine and I, and we make our way as quick as we can get there. And in that moment, they have him in this room. For you cast me into the deep, into the heart of the seas, and the floods surrounded me. Did you catch that? Did you hear it? Let me read it one more time. For you cast me into the deep. When Tom Hanks, I can't remember his character's name, is out there on the raft, and what's the volleyball's name? Wilson falls off and is not let go of the steering wheel. God's got you. I think we had somebody preach that message here not too long ago. God's got you. He's not letting go. He went down in the water into the belly of the fish. He couldn't go any deeper. He realized this. The question is, have we realized this? That God, are you still convinced that you can work it so that other person gets fired and you'll be okay to stay right where you are? You know, we remember the story, Acts chapter 16, when they're beaten because they had kind of called out that girl who was messing up their ministry. And 5, the waters closed in over me to take my life. The deep surrounded me. The weeds were wrapped about my head at the roots of the mountains. Can you imagine the environment inside the belly? How slimy. It is here that Jonah declares his recognition that God delivers even before he knows he's going to be spit up on the beach. He's still in the belly. The third lesson I want you to see is that God is. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. Verse 8. Those who pay regard to vain idols forsake their hope of steadfast love or face a great fish in our life, that we would be quick to remember who's in control, that we would remember who hears us. And the only thing we got going for us is that God is for us. I guarantee you, Jonah did not like the environment he was in for 3 days and 3 nights. But that fish was an act of great grace on God's part. And he has done the same thing for us today. I ask that you hear their prayers and remind them of your nearness, that you care about every detail of what's going on in their life. So, Father, touch our hearts in these moments of silence.